Hi, my name is Pranav Jandiala. I'm a junior here at UC Berkeley studying business and economics. I'm from the Silicon Valley initially, and I guess I'm just really genuinely interested in problem solving, specifically finding some of the most innovative solutions to tough challenges out there, both political and social. I think we're in a time where our political divide is unprecedented, and it's the biggest political and social issue of our time. And I think we need to do everything that we can to address it. I would consider myself a moderate Republican. I'm interested in free markets. I'm interested in, some conservative values like freedom, for example. And I guess over here, I'm able to survive by just kind of keeping my head down. And I guess the occasional times where I haven't, I'm actually a pretty vocal, outspoken person, and people kind of on campus know my political views because I've gotten involved in a number of different things, including BridgeUSA, which I started freshman year, and then I was attacked during the Milo riots, and after that, I wrote a number of op-eds, kind of explaining my worldview. In response, I guess, if your conservative views are palatable enough, if it's just about free markets, if it's just about certain things, you're okay. Like, I disagree with you, but you're fine. The second it gets to something that crosses a line for people, and that can be something like, I think we should have stronger border security. I think, the migrant caravan is bad, and I don't think we should, let in a bunch of refugees. So that crosses a line for people. And what's interesting is that line is becoming more and more shifted. The line used to be something like, you would get a lot of backlash, or you would get a lot of hate on campus if it was something like, build that wall, or like, I hate this certain race. Like, that's just blatantly racist, and that would get backlash. Now it's things like, I believe in stronger border security, that gets backlash because it's called racist. So you're seeing like the Overton window of discussion just shifting further and further left. Going back to your initial question about like what's going on campus, I agree with you. I think this is a very, very vocal left-leaning campus as a whole. Berkeley as an institution, the administration all the way down, it's very much left-leaning and unapologetically so. And so unapologetically so that it actually frightens people who disagree with that majority viewpoint. There's silence into discussion. When it's not outright censorship, events being canceled, Antifa coming on campus, beating conservatives up, it is censorship that happens out of fear. People are afraid to speak up for what they believe in, even if it's relatively harmless. Even if it's something like a belief in free markets. In a classroom discussion, where everyone's discussing economics and discussing inequality and how socialism is the best, solution to that. Like even rational ideas are kind of pushed out of the space of discussion on campus. And I think that's what's the most frightening to me.
And does BridgeUSA help that situation? And if so, how does it do that?
BridgeUSA has been finding support among people who really aren't even really don't even have a horse in the race with political issues already. Like, they're bringing people in who are just generally dissatisfied with the way things are going. They don't know what even the problem might be is. They just don't like what they're seeing. And I think it's more and more becoming a place where people who are dissatisfied can freely talk about why that is. And I think that's really cool. And I think that's why we're spreading so quickly. The movement is general enough so that it encapsulates a lot of sentiments, feelings, worries from both the right and the left. And it brings people in, it brings so many people in. I think it's this general idea of like, hey, like this is crazy, this partisan divide. Both parties are becoming increasingly partisan, and people are becoming increasingly dissatisfied with both parties. There's no competition because both parties have eliminated competitive threats through electoral policies, gerrymandering, closed primaries, those kinds of things. And I think that BridgeUSA is this large thing that we might not even know what it is yet, but it's just a place where we can talk about solutions to this general huge problem. And I think it's the biggest problem in politics and social life today in the United States. The initial aim was we cannot have these kind of situations anymore on campus where people are just, so riled up by politics that they resort to violence. We need to create a really productive outlet for people to engage with each other, for people who would disagree with each other to engage with each other productively. So that was the mission, and I think that we have been successful. We were successful freshman year at gaining a lot of, recognition for the work we were doing, even by the chancellor, for example, and nationally as well. So I think that even though we have the right mindset and the mission, and we have been successful, in some way, like people come to our events and like we have been successful, but I feel like what's lacking is a larger widespread acceptance of the bridge mentality. I don't feel like that's the majority viewpoint on campus, that, okay, hey, we need to listen to, people, we need a space for, discussion, we need these things happening. Or even if it's the most widely held viewpoint, it's not the most vocal. The most vocal viewpoints are, no, there are some viewpoints that aren't even worth engaging with because they're too racist, homophobic, sexist, etc. And that there's one right viewpoint. And this one right viewpoint needs to be something that we all unite behind as a Berkeley community to solve the world and all the country's problems and screw Trump and all that stuff. I do think that people are being driven to the possibility of dialogue, and I actually do think it may be the case that a majority of people, if you brought the average person on Berkeley's campus and you explain this philosophy to them, the whole bridge mentality of, hey, I think the right solution to all the political toxicity, partisanship we have in this nation is bringing people who disagree with each other together to talk about the issues in a very positive way so people understand each other's point of view. They can leave the discussion disagreeing with the person still, but not demonizing the person. That is key. They might agree with that overall philosophy, but because these vocal minority voices, these voices might be a minority, but they're so vocal that they kind of silence all discussion. Or they kind of saturate the marketplace of ideas such that this philosophy cannot be, it doesn't gain enough traction. It doesn't gain the traction it deserves. I think the free marketplace of ideas is a little bit skewed towards extreme voices. You get the most vocal minority. You see this in the news, right? The people who are on camera, the people who have crazy opinions, or people doing crazy things. That's what the media has become, and I think that's what the marketplace of ideas has become. It's most overpopulated and saturated with the most vocal, hateful voices on the left and the most vocal, hateful voices on the right as well.
And have you gone to other campuses and tried to set up bridge organizations? Mm-hmm. And is that...
The people that have been working on, expanding to other chapters, they personally have had a lot of success, I think. I'm hearing a lot about new chapters being started in many different areas, including, I think, at some point, I don't know if it actually went through, but I think people were interested in starting a chapter at UVA after the Charlottesville tragedy, which was extremely encouraging. Like, students at UVA saw what we were doing and said, we need a solution to what's going on here. People dying in the streets because of political disagreements. That can't happen. BridgeUSA. So that was really cool, actually, for me to see. But around the country, we are seeing a lot of support in different campuses.
Tell me about your background.
Yeah.
Do you come from a family of people like you? Are you different?
When I initially became interested in politics, that was in high school, I initially was interested in just helping people. Like, I was like, okay, what party seems to be the one that's helping people? Oh, the Democrats, they seem to care the most, right? So that's why I think I gravitate towards them initially. When I came to Berkeley, I saw that that really wasn't the case. I don't think that they so much care about people more than they care about being right, and more than they care about showing other people that they're right and everyone else is wrong. That their opinion is fact and everyone else's is just an opinion, and even some opinions don't even deserve to be engaged with. That's the kind of thought I saw with liberals on Berkeley's campus. And it was the type of thought that is now leading to shutting down free speech. This idea that, oh, hate speech is not free speech. Oh, hate speech deserves to be silenced. Oh, if you're engaging in hate speech, you're a Nazi. And because you're a Nazi, you deserve physical violence. See, these are kind of like trains of thought that are happening that are just really extreme and crazy, and I think that they've abandoned all rationality.
Are you seeing change with the movement,
With Bridge?
with Bridge?
I think that the people who have been coming to discussions, the people who are involved with Bridge, are changing in that way. They understand the importance of free speech, all these things. I think, though, that BridgeUSA has more become an outlet for people who really don't feel like they fit with the mainstream political parties. And I think that's what the greatest thing about BridgeUSA is. It's like a safe haven for people who are interested in politics but reject both mainstream kind of options. I think that's the biggest thing it's been able to do. One thing that I think is that we have a lot of discussions, like I've been to a lot recently, where we have like very conservative and very liberal people. Like we're bringing in like the extremes, which is great because that's what we want. But I don't feel like they're leaving, especially the liberals, are leaving with a true appreciation of diversity of thought, true appreciation of listening to the other side, and all those things. Those are things we're trying to improve, right? Those are things we're trying to improve, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Yeah.